When Lauren, a successful black hairstylist, was serving a white client at a salon just named the best in the city, he began to belittle her style, implying that someone like her couldn't handle his complicated hair. But she didn't back down, and it became her victory. How she responded will shock even the most seasoned. But let's start from the beginning. The salon is filled with the hum of hair dryers and the soft rustling of combs against hair. Lauren, a 40-year-old black hairstylist with long, straightened black hair, stands behind a salon chair, preparing for another busy day. She's wearing a fitted black uniform, her expression professional, yet her eyes show a depth of experience. Today, her salon has just been recognized as the best in the city, and it's a source of quiet pride for her and her co-workers. A white client, Mr. Carson, a man in his late 50s, steps into the salon with a confident, almost arrogant air. He's sharply dressed in a tailored suit, his graying hair neatly combed back. As he sits in the chair, he looks around dismissively, glancing at the other stylists with a subtle smirk. Without a greeting, he immediately starts in with a critique. "I need something more professional," he says, voice dripping with condescension. "Not sure you're up for this. I've had issues with people like you who don't know how to work with my type of hair." His words sting, sharp with prejudice, but Lauren doesn't flinch. Instead, she takes a deep breath, the tension palpable as she nods silently and starts preparing her tools. The air between them is thick with judgment. His, not hers. As she begins the haircut, Mr. Carson continues to throw out disparaging remarks. "I've been to salons that actually know what they're doing," he says. "I expect something high class, not, well, whatever this is." His comments are veiled in subtle racism, mocking her expertise based purely on her race. But Lauren, well trained in the art of holding her ground, simply ignores the insults, her hands steady as she works. The silence in the salon grows uncomfortable. Other customers glance at one another, exchanging looks, unsure whether to intervene. But no one speaks up. The tension lingers like smoke in the air. Lauren knows she can't let it show. But inside, the weight of his words presses against her chest. It's not just about the haircut anymore. It's about how he's demeaning her. And by extension, the place she works. The place she's proud of. Yet she keeps working, her movements precise, even as Mr. Carson's casual insults continue. He's blind to the fact that his words aren't just aimed at her, but at everyone who's worked tirelessly to make this salon what it is. A place where excellence is found, regardless of who is behind the chair. As Lauren continues to work her hands steady, the tension in the air thickens. The buzzing sound of clippers fills the room, but Mr. Carson seems determined to chip away at her professionalism. His voice drips with sarcasm as he eyes his reflection in the mirror. "This is supposed to be a high-end salon, right?" he asks, his tone mocking. "Because it looks pretty cheap to me. I've seen better work done in places like, well, local spots. You know, the kind of salons people go to when they don't really care about how they look." His words hit harder than she expected. Lauren's stomach tightens as his criticism starts to veer into uncomfortable territory. His implication that the work she does isn't up to standard because of where she comes from, who she is, and the community she serves strikes a nerve. She's used to navigating the world with her head held high, but this feels personal. His attack isn't just on her skills as a stylist. It's an assault on her identity, on the value of what she does, and what it means to work in a place like this. "I can't believe they gave an award to this place," he sneers. "You'd think they'd reserve those for places that actually know what they're doing. This kind of cut, it's for the locals, right?" Lauren grits her teeth, her fingers still working deftly through his hair, but her mind races. It's clear now. His comments are designed to hurt her, to undermine her and everything she's worked for. The longer his insults roll off his tongue, the more they erode her composure. His words are so loaded with prejudice, so painfully dismissive, that it's almost unbearable to hear. She could feel the heat rise in her chest. Anger, frustration. But there's something else too. Lauren feels an overwhelming wave of resolve. She's been called worse, judged by people who don't understand the pride, the artistry, and the care that goes into her work. But she's had enough. She's no longer going to stand by and let him tear her down. As he continues to criticize, she glances around the room, and her eyes land on the framed certificate on the wall. It's an award, proudly displayed. Best salon in the city. The realization hits her like a rush of adrenaline. This is a place that is not only respected by its clients, but has earned the right to be here, to stand among the best. Her jaw tightens, and she takes a deep breath. With the confidence she feels coursing through her, Lauren stands a little taller, her body shifting with a newfound sense of purpose. She will not let this man, or anyone else, reduce the value of the space she has fought to build. This isn't just about a haircut anymore. It's about standing her ground, about dignity. With a calm but resolute tone, Lauren decides it's time to speak up. She won't remain silent, not this time. She pauses for a moment, looking him straight in the eye in the mirror. He's still oblivious to how deeply his words have cut, but not for much longer. As Lauren finishes the final touches on his haircut, her mind is clear, her movements measured. Her fingers continue their work with precision, but her mind is now completely focused on the confrontation ahead. Mr. Carson is still murmuring under his breath, picking apart the cut, but Lauren doesn't flinch. She's had enough. It's time to speak her truth. With a calm but unwavering expression, Lauren places the comb down gently, her eyes locking with his reflection in the mirror. For a brief moment, the tension between them is palpable. The hum of the salon fades into the background as her words slice through the room. You're criticizing my work, but I'm proud to say I work in a salon that's just been recognized as the best in this city, she says, her voice even but firm. Every single person here is a professional, and we take pride in what we do. Her words hang in the air, cutting through his arrogance like a sharp blade. For a moment, Mr. Carson freezes, clearly taken aback. He wasn't expecting this. His smug expression falters as the full weight of her statement sinks in. His eyes shift uncomfortably, realizing that his usual approach of belittling and dismissing people doesn't work here. Not with Lauren. She's not just any stylist. She's someone who knows her worth. Lauren doesn't stop there. She walks calmly over to the shelf, pulls down the award certificate, and brings it to him, holding it up in front of his face. This place, she continues, her voice steady and strong, earned this recognition, and it deserves respect, not demeaning comments like yours. She sets the certificate down on the counter with a deliberate motion, her gaze unwavering as she watches his reaction. The atmosphere in the salon shifts. The other clients who had been watching the exchange with varying degrees of discomfort suddenly fall silent. Lauren's colleagues, who had been too hesitant to step in, now look at her with newfound respect. Their eyes are filled with admiration as they realize she's standing up not just for herself, but for everyone in the room. Mr. Carson, still sitting in the chair, begins to squirm. His confident demeanor has cracked, and the smirk that had been on his face is now replaced by a look of discomfort. He opens his mouth to respond, but the words don't come easily. He knows he's been caught off guard, and for the first time, he seems unsure of himself. His previous attempts to belittle Lauren and dismiss the salon fall flat in the face of her calm authority. For a moment, there's a silence in the salon, heavy with the weight of Lauren's defiance. The respect she's earned from her co-workers is palpable, and even Mr. Carson knows that his previous behavior won't be tolerated any longer. He tries to justify his actions, stammering a half-hearted apology, but Lauren simply turns back to her work. She's not interested in his excuses. Her focus is on finishing his haircut, with her composure fully intact. She knows that the power is now in her hands. As she continues, Mr. Carson shifts nervously in his seat. The realization sets in that he's no longer in control, and for once, he can't just bully someone into silence. He's starting to understand that Lauren won't allow it. After Lauren finishes cutting Mr. Carson's hair, she remains calm and professional, accepting payment with practiced indifference, ignoring his attempts to justify his previous comments. As she hands him the receipt, there's no satisfaction in the transaction, not from the money, nor from the haircut. The weight of the earlier confrontation still lingers within her, but she doesn't let it show. Internally, though, a decision begins to form. Lauren feels that the situation has to change, that Mr. Carson's behavior shouldn't just be left to hang in the air. There's more to this moment than just the immediate exchange. In the back of her mind, her colleagues had been whispering about the recent recognition the salon had received. It had been officially named the best in the city. And to top it off, Lauren's own skills as a stylist had been singled out as part of the award. This was her moment to show that this was not just a job, but a craft that demanded respect. As Mr. Carson leaves the salon, still muttering some apology under his breath, Lauren stands at the counter for a moment, gathering her thoughts. She knows she has to use her platform. She's not going to let this pass quietly. Once the salon has quieted down, she heads home, sits at her computer, and begins to type. Her fingers fly over the keys as she crafts a post that not only highlights the recent award, but also addresses the behavior she'd endured. With a deep breath, she hits post. In it, she speaks not only of the accomplishment, but also of the importance of respect and dignity in the workplace. She makes it clear that the kind of behavior Mr. Carson exhibited was unacceptable, but it wasn't going to silence her. She shares how vital it is for professionals to stand up for themselves and demand respect, how every person, regardless of background, deserves to be treated with dignity. As soon as the post goes live, Lauren watches the notifications flood in. The first few likes come from her close friends, then a few clients. But soon, thousands of people are commenting, sharing, and offering words of encouragement. The support is overwhelming. Lauren receives messages from people all over, many of them thanking her for speaking out, some of them sharing similar stories of disrespect they'd faced. Her followers appreciate her honesty, and Lauren feels the weight of their support bolster her confidence. The realization sets in that this is how things can be changed. Not just through confrontation, but through standing tall and being heard, even when it's hard. Her post becomes a symbol of empowerment, a rallying cry for those who've been silenced by microaggressions and racism in the workplace. Meanwhile, Mr. Carson, who had no idea what he was up against, begins to feel the ripple effect of his words. The post goes viral, and soon he's inundated with negative comments on his own social media accounts. People are calling him out for his attitude, reminding him that his prejudiced behavior isn't acceptable anymore. The flood of disapproval is swift and intense, and soon Mr. Carson realizes that he's become the target of a backlash he hadn't expected, and one he can't easily escape from. As he scrolls through the comments, his stomach churns. He doesn't know who Lauren really is, or how significant the impact of her post has been. All he knows is that he's now publicly shamed, with his own actions being put on blast in a way he hadn't anticipated. The wave of support for Lauren grows, while Mr. Carson watches his own reputation slowly deteriorate, realizing that his attempt to belittle her has backfired spectacularly. For Lauren, the feeling is profound, though still humble. It wasn't just about her career. It was about standing firm for something bigger: equality, respect, and creating a culture of kindness and professionalism. The salon's new status as the best in the city wasn't just an award for the team. It was a testament to their dedication and hard work. But Lauren knew, in her heart, that her true victory wasn't just in the award. It was in the voice she found to speak up and the change she was helping to create.